and gentlemen, distinguished delegates, the meeting is called to order. We will now resume our deliberations under the agenda item 4, review of the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in Asia and the Pacific, and the issues pertinent to the subsidiary structure of the Commission. We shall continue from where we left yesterday and consider now agenda item 4D on the Committee on Social Development. The documents pertinent to this item are ESCAP/77/7, and the matters calling for action of the Commission are brought to the attention of the Committee on Social Development on its 6th session. And the second document is ESCAP/77/27, entitled Report of the Asia-Pacific Regional Review of Implementation of the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration. And the third document is ESCAP/77/14, on report on the 6th session of the Working Group on the Asian and the Pacific Decade of Persons with Disabilities, 2013 till 2022. I now open the floor for comments. First speaker is Bangladesh, to be followed by Russia. Bangladesh, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, first of all, thank you for giving me the floor, and of course, thanks to the Secretary for the very useful reports, particularly report number 14 and 27. Mr. Chair, Bangladesh government undertakes a various number of social security programs, ranging from allowance to livelihood improvement, and also financial support programs in multiple sectors, targeting specific sections of the population. Rooted in the SDGs, the Delta Plan 2100, Vision 2041 Perspective Plan are some of the key national policies incorporated in our 8th five-year plan geared towards holistic national development. In this backdrop, in combating the adversities of COVID-19, government has already disbursed additional allowances to persons under social safety net and disability identification survey. We also revoked the loan recovery under Rural Social Service Program and provided financial assistance and food. On the occasion of the birth centenary of the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, under the dynamic leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, the government has taken the scheme of building and providing homes to all homeless people in Bangladesh, to every single one of them. The initiatives by the government and the civil society for the autistic population has earned Bangladesh global recognition and appreciation. Overall, Mr. Chair, the approaches taken by the government of Bangladesh is truly to the spirit of the SDGs to leave no one behind. In doing so, the concerned ministries have adopted multi-tiered planning policies garnered through effective partnerships across the board. Finally, Mr. Chair, we in Bangladesh are working for creating a society that is pro-people, and by people, we mean people from all sectors and all strata of life, irrespective of their religion, status, and ability. We envision a Bangladesh that will be Shonar Bangla or Golden Bengal, where there will be no discrimination. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Bangladesh, for your statement. I'll now invite Russia to be followed by China. Russia, please take the floor.
В первую очередь хотели бы подтвердить нашу высокую оценку роли Комитета ESCAP по социальному развитию в продвижении инициатив, направленных на преодоление социального неравенства и улучшение положения наиболее уязвимых групп населения Азиатско-Тихоокеанского региона. Мы неизменно рассматриваем работу комитета в качестве уникальной региональной площадки для обмена межгосударственным опытом и идеями по наиболее актуальным вопросам социальной защиты. К сожалению, за прошедший год нам так и не удалось справиться с распространением новой коронавирусной инфекции в мире. В ряде государств наблюдается резкое ухудшение эпидемиологического фона. Правительство повторно ужесточает ранее ослабленные меры сдерживания коронавируса, включая возврат к дистанционным формам работы и обучения, усиление масочного режима, запрет на проведение массовых мероприятий. Многие страны Азиатско-Тихоокеанского региона с трудом проводили адаптацию мер социальной поддержки населения к новой ситуации. И это означает, что мы должны повысить внимание к реализации целей, поставленных в сфере социального развития. Исходим из того, что план действий по укреплению регионального сотрудничества в области социальной защиты в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе, принятый по итогам последней сессии комитета, будет служить действенным рамочным инструментом, позволяющим преодолеть социальное неравенство и придать вопросам социальной защиты населения региона дополнительный импульс в интересах достижения всех соответствующих целей установок повестки 2030. Уважаемый господин председатель, правительство Российской Федерации накопило весомый опыт в борьбе с пандемией. Даже в непростой экономической ситуации мы сохраняем безусловную приверженность по повышению уровня социальной защиты российских граждан и росту их благосостояния. Неукоснительно соблюдается выполнение социальных гарантий и осуществляются шаги по преодолению имущественного неравенства и сокращению бедности. В настоящее время на территории Российской Федерации проводится масштабная кампания по массовой иммунизации населения. Уже более 10 миллионов человек привились полностью, а до середины июня планируется привить более 30 миллионов человек. Еще раз хотим подчеркнуть, что вакцинация проводится в добровольном порядке. Записаться на вакцинацию может любой гражданин, включая иностранцев. Более того, временно и постоянно проживающие иностранные граждане, а также лица, имеющие статус беженца, могут получить данную медицинскую услугу абсолютно бесплатно. Доступ к вакцинам – это не просто гуманитарный вопрос, фактор скорейшего восстановления экономики и обеспечения устойчивого развития, так, чтобы не оставить никого позади. Сегодня это вопрос выживания, который должен быть свободен от политизации и объединить нас на принципах солидарности. Российская Федерация вносит весомый вклад в глобальную борьбу с пандемией коронавируса, оказывая помощь наиболее пострадавшим государствам как на двухсторонней основе, так и по линии многосторонних форматов, в том числе в контексте обеспечения доступа населения к безопасным и эффективным прививкам. Наиболее известная на международной арене российская антиковидная вакцина «Спутник Ви» уже одобрена в 62 странах мира. В настоящий момент прорабатывается вопрос локализации производства в различных странах. Задействование всех имеющихся мощностей фарминдустрии, мы надеемся, позволит в обозримой перспективе обеспечить свободный доступ к вакцинации для граждан всех государств. Уважаемый господин председатель, хотели бы подчеркнуть, что только коллективными усилиями возможно переломить негативные тенденции, с которыми сталкиваются государства ESCAP на социально-экономическом треке, и выйти на путь устойчивого развития. Готова активно работать вместе со всеми партнерами во имя достижения этих целей. Благодарю за внимание.
Thank you, Russia, for your statement. Next speaker is China, to be followed by Thailand. China, you have the floor.
先生，过去1年，社会发展委员会成功举办第6届会议，积极推动加强社会保障，关注妇女和残疾人等弱势群体发展，为各国提供政策支持与能力建设，有关工作值得肯定。主席先生，中国始终坚持以人民为中心。2020年，中国实现了消除绝对贫困的历史性任务，提前10年完成2030年可持续发展议程减贫目标。我们把人民群众生命安全和身体健康放在第一位，迅速控制疫情，有效保障民生。我们将2030年议程纳入国家发展战略，积极保障妇女和弱势群体权益。我们支持 ESCAP 开展妇女与残疾人赋权等合作项目，惠及许多亚太国家。我们积极开展国际抗疫合作，向150多个国家和10个国际组织提供抗疫援助，向80个国家和3个国际组织 提供疫苗援助，促进疫苗公平分配。女士们、先生们，面对疫后重建的艰巨任务，我们应奉行多边主义，推进多边合作，应尊重各国自主选择的发展道路，应强化发展伙伴关系，推动南北合作、南南合作的三边合作，应增强社会发展包容性，加大公共财政投入，保护弱势群体的合法权益，共享发展成果，促进经济社会可持续发展。谢谢。
Thank you, China, for your statement. Next speaker is Thailand, to be followed by Japan. Thailand, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. As the pandemic has continued to cause an adverse impact on socio-economic development, the Royal Thai government has formulated the Special Master Plan under the national strategy by placing the vulnerable at the center in line with the sufficiency economy philosophy. We have strengthened our efforts to revive the economy by embracing the new business model of the bio-circular green economy to encourage a locally driven approach towards sustainability. Thailand fully realizes that the advancement in social protection system will lead to a more effective way of building back better. The government therefore has initiated the 5-year project to reach out to the vulnerable at household level with the vital support from volunteers all over the country so that the results will be an input to improve Thailand's social protection system. For child development, the monthly child support grant of 600 baht has been continuously improved along with the 15-year free education program. To enhance the rights of persons with disabilities in a new normal way, Thailand has initiated substantial activities such as promoting vocational trainings and suitable employment. The disability allowance has also been extended to 1,000 baht per month, covering children with disabilities under the age of 18. Excellencies, as Thailand will become a complete age society with the proportion of older population at 20%, we have developed proactive measures on both policy and practice levels. The Universal Health Coverage Scheme and home healthcare programs have enabled all age groups to access healthcare services without leaving any place behind, together with the financial assistance or age allowance. Moreover, in order to promote good quality of life of low-income earners and ease their cost of living during the pandemic, the Royal Thai government has introduced the financial assistance, namely Rauchana or We Win scheme, together with the half-half co-payment and the Affordable Home for Rent project. Excellencies, in closing, as the world is recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic, Thailand remains convinced that long-term investment in social protection system in line with the action plan to strengthen regional cooperation on social protection in Asia and the Pacific is crucial to guard against unwanted situations and provide a strong foundation for inclusive economic growth and sustainable development in which no one is left behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Thailand, for your statement. Next speaker is Japan, to be followed by Indonesia. Japan, you have the floor.
For giving me the floor. Good morning, everybody. The Asia Pacific is the most disaster-prone region in the world. According to the report by ESCAP, 690 million persons with disability living in the region are disproportionately affected by disasters and are excluded from many social services. And these inequalities have been worsened by COVID-19. Japan, with a new project titled Facilitating Innovative Action, on gender-responsive and disability-inclusive disaster risk reduction policies and programs in Asia-Pacific through the Japan ESCAP Cooperation Fund. Japan will be committed to addressing the social inequality exacerbated by COVID-19 through a people-centered approach aligned with the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, hoping for contribution to the achievement of Sustainable Development Goal 5, 10, and 11. I thank you.
Thank you, Japan, for your statement. The next speaker is Indonesia, to be followed by India. Indonesia, please take the floor.
Videonya nggak ada. Rilis semua? Nggak, kalau rilis selesai.
Indonesia, we can hear you, but we cannot see you.
Okay, then. Still cannot see me, ya?
Indonesia, please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished delegates, Indonesia appreciates for Secretariat for bringing up this agenda. Indonesia realizes how important it is to develop a social protection policy for marginalized group as one of the frameworks in realizing 2030 agenda in achieving the sustainable development goals. Indonesian government has responded in swift and careful manner to mitigate the socio-economic impact of COVID-19 and has massively invested for social protection that's specifically aimed at supporting the poor and vulnerable groups to cope with the pandemic. We rapidly increased social assistance and safety nets, as well as increased benefits for several social protection programs to help society get through the pandemic. Ministry of Social Affairs has been developing Serasi Social Service Center, which adopts the Australian Centrelink system, Germany's single window services, and one-stop services owned by several Asian countries. The Serasi platform has two main functions, namely first, payment office for social protection benefits for the poor and vulnerable, especially for those who have experienced shocks, crises, or major transitions, changes in life, including victims of COVID-19. And secondly, a comprehensive and integrative social rehabilitation service provider for the government of social welfare services directly and or through social welfare institution. Indonesia's next priority is to formulate the platform of inclusive, life cycle-based, comprehensive, and adaptive social protection programs that can reach the vulnerable more quickly and efficiently with the ability to scale up in many times of crisis or emergency and left no one behind. The COVID-19 responses for protection for the poor and vulnerable one has been focused on the provisions of social assistance and social insurance. In the medium term, we will need to strengthen institutional capacity, including in terms of adequate and well-trained human resources, and expanded the provision of existing devices for the targeted group, including persons with disability. Thank you.
Thank you, Indonesia. The next speaker is India. India, you have the floor.
Kasihan deh.
Thank you for the floor, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has been disproportionately harsh on the marginalized sections all over the world, affecting their lives and livelihood. India has been committed to safeguarding the rights of all sections, especially the disadvantaged sections, providing them equal opportunity and empowering them. India has a robust framework of laws and policies and has undertaken several schematic interventions and programs in the spheres of education, economic, and social development aimed at empowering the socially and economically disadvantaged and marginalized sections. These interventions include providing scholarships, coaching and skill development, loans at concessional rates, microcredit, and others. Additionally, targeted interventions aimed at securing welfare of the senior citizens and supporting victims of substance abuse and alcoholism have also been undertaken. Mr. Chair, India enacted the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, which recognizes the rights and entitlements of persons with disabilities. It especially focuses on the explicit need of women and children with disabilities. During the pandemic, a series of steps were taken to protect the disadvantaged sections and to provide succor to them. Steps were taken for addressing the health concerns of all citizens, enabling them to avail uninterrupted health care services. Indian Sign Language Research and Training Center developed accessible format of important government instructions and guidelines relating to COVID-19, as well as accessible videos which are available on its website and the YouTube channel. A dedicated helpline, Kiran, was also started to provide first line of counseling in response to the increasing mental health issues among people due to the COVID-19 pandemic. To protect the livelihoods of persons with disabilities during the COVID-19 pandemic, ex gratia financial assistance was provided under the central government's Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana package. The relief was also provided to insured workers, including those with disabilities in the informal sector. Mr. Chair, the pandemic has highlighted the need for urgent and focused intervention on safeguarding the interests of the disadvantaged sections and the importance of enhanced regional cooperation on social protection. In that context, we welcome the action plan to strengthen regional cooperation on social protection in Asia and the Pacific endorsed by the committee in its 6th session held in October 2020. I thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, India, for your statement. Would any other delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item? I see none. This brings to the conclusion of the agenda item 4D. We shall now take up agenda item 4E, Committee on Transport. The documents pertinent to this agenda item are ESCAP/77/6 on summary of progress on the implementation of Commission resolutions, Resolution 73/4, and ESCAP/77/7, and the matters calling for actions of the Commission or brought to the attention of the Committee on Transport on its 6th session. I now open the floor for contributions. The first speaker is Bangladesh, to be followed by Republic of Korea. Bangladesh, you have the floor.
Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for giving me the floor. We thank the Secretariat for informing us about the progress in the implementation of Commission Resolution 73/4 and 77/6. We also thank the Secretariat for sharing the progress of Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity and hope that members will be extensively consulted for the next phase. We further hope that we can take transformative action to make our efficient and resilient transport connectivity against the backdrop of COVID-19 pandemic. The government of Bangladesh recognized that to ensure sustainable production and consumption and uninterrupted supply chains, we need to strengthen connectivity in our efforts to build back better after unprecedented challenges of the pandemic. We are combining our national efforts in designing a multimodal transport system which are resilient to any further future shock by developing both hard and soft infrastructure. Now we need more coordinated regional and sub-regional cooperation to harmonize all these developments. In this respect, our Honorable Prime Minister, in her address at the Leaders' Dialogue on 26 April of this Commission session, also highlighted our government's priorities and support on ESCAP's initiative of the Asian Highway, Trans-Asian Railway, and dry ports. We are also taking initiatives like trilateral highways in our sub-region. We are ardent supporter of implement the vision of an international, integrated, intermodal transport and logistics system for our region. For easy movement of motor vehicles, the BBIN, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal Motor Vehicles Agreement, had signed back in 2015, and now the protocol regarding the operation of BBIN is under process. We hope very soon it will remove non-physical barriers to international road transport in this sub-region. Government of Bangladesh is implementing the cross-border road network improvement project and Sussex Road Connecting Project with a view to improve international and regional transport and logistics network by rehabilitating and developing major regional connectivity road corridors in Bangladesh. By this way, it is contributing to the facilitation of trade with neighboring countries. The government has been implementing development projects by integrating SDG targets with the medium and long-term plan in line with the UN Decade of Action of Road Safety 2011 to 2020 for ensuring the safety of passengers and freights, and we have taken initiatives to implement the construction of Excel Road station on the entry point of important highways. In line with the National Road Safety Strategic Action Plan, we have also implementing several projects to materialize the safety standards. To conclude, we can say that Government of Bangladesh is very much interested to continue its effort to build back better by taking lessons from the crisis through the auspices of regional cooperation. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Bangladesh, for your statement. Next speaker is Republic of Korea, to be followed by China. Republic of Korea, please take the floor.
To explain this here, the ESCAP structural reform compensatory role of the transport division and the support for the implementation of the Ministerial Declaration Sustainable Transport Activity in Asia and the Pacific. The Republic of Korea clearly recognized the seamless and integrated transport lays the foundation to the region's growth and
Korea?
social, environmental.
Korea, we cannot hear. We'll try to fix and we'll come back to you.
Okay, thank you.
The next speaker is China. China, you have the floor.
交通是亚太实现互联互通、促进疫后复苏的重要基础。交通运输委员会成功召开第6次会议，探讨了疫情背景下如何推进可持续交通运输互联互通。第4届交通运输问题部长级会议正在筹备之中，中方对委员会的工作表示肯定。中国坚持互利共赢的开放战略，积极推进亚太地区和全球互联互通。中国正积极筹办联合国第2届全球可持续交通大会。中国与有关国家高质量共建“一带一路”，推进绿色支路建设。通过推进基础设施互联互通，促进当地就业与经济发展。中国与各方加强交通领域抗疫合作，分享疫情防控操作指南，建立抗疫援助物资和专家组、绿色运输通道。主席先生，交通是 ESCAP 领域合作的重点之一，各方应在可持续交通、互联互通、绿色交通等合作领域持续发力。我们应采取整体策略，推动交通运输互联互通发展，加强区域合作和一体化，继续支持亚洲高速公路网、泛亚铁路和具有国际重要性的亚太陆港协定，促进建立高效和有韧性的供应链，结合实际情况，进一步统一技术标准，完善法律框架，协调运输规则和程序， 加快数字化和创新技术发展与应用，应充分考虑气候变化等环境问题，切实采取措施推动可持续交通发展。中国有句俗语，要致富先修路，期待亚太高交通互联互通更加顺畅，切实为疫后更好重建及可持续发展做出贡献。谢谢。
Thank you, Jenna, for your statement. Now we'll come back to Republic of Korea. Republic of Korea, you have the floor.
Gratitude to the ESCAP Secretariat for the comprehensive review on the work of the Transport Division and their support for the implementation of the Ministerial Declaration on Sustainable Transport Activity in Asia and the Pacific. The Republic of Korea fully recognizes the seamless and integrated transport-based foundation to the region's growth, economic, social, and environmental sustainability. With this in mind, our commitment to enhance transport connectivity in the region extends beyond developing transport infrastructure. To attain transport-related targets set out in the 2030 agenda, we know that the economically viable, environmentally sound, socially inclusive transport systems are vital, together with capacity building efforts to improve the quality of the transport operations. And we also should not forget that smart, innovative technology work as an enabler to such improvements. In this regard, as a member of the Integrated Intergovernmental Agreement on the Asian Highway Network, the Trans-Asian Railway Network, and the dry ports, Korea has taken an active role in promoting regional transport connectivity over the past decade by providing assistance to ESCAP's project, which supported the implementation of the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific, Phase 1. The Korean government has also supported a number of programs in designing sustainable transport policy institutional framework, as well as capacity building workshops, expert groups, meetings, and for ESCAP member countries to exchange their best practice and knowledge. In recent years, Korea has been promoting smart transport system since 2019 through a project entitled Increasing the Use of Smart Mobility Approaches to Improve Traffic Conditions in Urban Areas in Southeast Asia. We hope that the Smart Mobility Project could contribute to addressing urban transport challenges that the region is facing and further facilitate the use of smart transport technology for a more sustainable future. In closing, we welcome ESCAP Secretariat's direction of the next phase of Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific. Korea will continue to actively participate in the deliberation and efforts in achieving regional connectivity. And we will cooperate in every way possible to assist the work of the ESCAP. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Republic of Korea, for your statement. Next speaker on my list is Thailand, to be followed by Russia. Thailand, you have the floor.
In vaccination is proceeding globally, the world continues to struggle with the unprecedented and complicated challenge of the pandemic. This phenomenon has diminished our progress towards sustainable development goal realization. Transport is taking a vital role in achieving SDG, as well as in the post-COVID-19 recovery. Thailand formulates long-term transport system development strategy in line with the SDG. The strategy focuses on three main concepts, including green and safe transport, transport efficiency, and inclusive transport. Furthermore, in innovation and management will be deployed in transport and logistics development. Over the year, Thailand has put concrete effort to mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Together with the strengthening supply chain connectivity, will be more resilient and more vulnerable by keeping logistics and supply chain functioning. Transport capacity is enhancing by extending transport network, such as extensive improvement of double-track rail, high-speed rail, motorway, upgrading and expanding port and airport, while the facilitation of regional connectivity, non-physical barrier to cross-border and transit transport is ongoing. Thailand underlines the importance of road safety and sustainable transport. Various measures have been implemented, such as a road safety audit, installation of safety equipment, enforcement, and etc. With the concern on climate change and PM 2.5 situation, the government has intensively invested in mass rapid transit, reform feeder system, and transit-oriented development to encourage the use of public transport and non-motorized transport. Public bus will be replaced by electric vehicles. Furthermore, Thailand fosters utilization of innovation and digitalization in transport and traffic to increase efficiency for robust recovery. In closing, I wish to reaffirm Thailand's determination of advanced transport development in achieve SDG, fostering regional cooperation to achieve robust recovery with more balanced and sustainable path. Thank you.
Thank you, Thailand, for your statement. The next speaker is Russia, to be followed by India. Russia, please take the floor.
Уважаемый господин председатель, уважаемые коллеги, традиционно рассматривая транспортное взаимодействие в рамках ESCAP в качестве одного из приоритетных, Российская Федерация выступает за последовательное развитие регионального сотрудничества по формированию в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе комплексной системы бесперебойных транспортных связей в соответствии с программными документами Комиссии в области транспорта, в частности, решениями Третьей министерской конференции ESCAP по транспорту. Одной из ключевых задач в транспортном направлении считаем выполнение региональной программы действий по обеспечению устойчивой транспортной связуемости в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе, принятой по итогам упомянутой выше министерской конференции. Мы положительно оцениваем деятельность по осуществлению первого этапа региональной программы действий по транспорту на 2017-2021 год. Россия поддерживает усилия ESCAP по продвижению совместно с другими специализированными учреждениями ООН и иными международными организациями вопросов, связанных с развитием транспортных связей между Азией и Европой. С учетом итогов работы 6-й комиссии Комитета ESCAP по транспорту, полагаем необходимым в дальнейшей работе комиссии приоритетное внимание уделять таким темам, как развитие международных транспортных коридоров, мультимодальные перевозки, упрощение процедур перевозок, цифровизация перевозочного процесса, повышение эффективности международных пассажирских перевозок, развитие устойчивых городских транспортных связей и обеспечение безопасности дорожного движения, а также взаимодействие стран-участниц ESCAP в сфере транспортного образования. Важно продолжать последовательное сотрудничество в рамках действующей нормативно-правовой базы ESCAP. Это уже неоднократно упомянутые сегодня межправительственные соглашения по сети азиатских автомобильных дорог, трансазиатских железных дорог, а также межправительственного соглашения о сухих портах. В этом контексте важное значение будут иметь предстоящие в мае и июне текущего года заседания рабочих групп по реализации упомянутых соглашений. Укреплению транспортной связуемости в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе, развитие торгово-экономических связей между странами будет способствовать реализация межправительственного соглашения между Россией, Китаем и Монголией о международных автомобильных перевозках по сети азиатских автомобильных дорог. Потенциал ESCAP позволяет более эффективно использовать и организовывать взаимодействие стран-участниц соглашения по вопросам, связанным с его практической реализацией. Считаем важным обеспечить дальнейшую организационно-техническую поддержку со стороны секретариата ESCAP в реализации данного соглашения. Уважаемые коллеги, в условиях распространения коронавирусной инфекции транспортные отрасли стран всего мира, в том числе региона ESCAP, столкнулись с новым вызовом – необходимостью обеспечить потребности экономики и общества в транспортных услугах наряду с обеспечением безопасности пассажиров и работников транспортного комплекса. В этой связи представляется важным продолжить в рамках ESCAP обмен передовыми практиками функционирования транспортного комплекса в условиях пандемии и выхода из ограничительных мер, о чем говорилось в предыдущих выступлениях по предыдущему вопросу, а также обсуждение вопросов международного взаимодействия транспортных ведомств по противодействию чрезвычайным ситуациям межстранового характера, включая эпидемии и пандемии. Господин председатель, Российская Федерация является одним из ключевых доноров деятельности ESCAP в транспортной сфере. В настоящее время при нашей экспертной и финансовой поддержке секретариатом выполняется крупный пакет проектов по транспортной тематике, направленных на содействие развитию стран региона. По российской инициативе в 2021 году запланирован к проведению целый ряд международных мероприятий. Это региональная конференция по вопросам развития устойчивых городских транспортных систем 9-10 июня этого года, форум по устойчивой транспортной связуемости между Европой и Азией в сентябре и международная конференция на тему расширения сотрудничества среди транспортных, образовательных и учебных институтов и межправительственных структур, также в сентябре этого года. Призываем все страны ESCAP принять участие в этих мероприятиях. Рассчитываем, что их итоги внесут весомый вклад в предстоящую 4-ю министерскую конференцию ESCAP по транспорту, запланированную на декабрь этого года. Спасибо за внимание.
Thank you, Russia, for your statement. Next speaker is India. India, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, COVID-19 and its consequences have shown that we live in an interconnected and interdependent world, and therefore we need regional and global solidarity, as these challenges cannot be overcome by any country alone. Efficient mobility of people is one of the key factors for the progress and prosperity of a society and a nation. We believe that infrastructure network needs to address all types of connectivity, urban to urban, urban to rural, and rural to rural. India has implemented multiple schemes to strengthen rural connectivity in the country. Therefore, rural connectivity and improving road safety are important aspects mentioned in the background note earlier in order to achieve the relevant SDGs. Mr. Chair, it is a well acknowledged fact that the role of transport connectivity in empowering people and ensuring inclusiveness and equality in Asia and the Pacific is significant. The Government of India continues to implement a number of initiatives to strengthen its road transport connectivity with neighboring countries, particularly in South Asia and Southeast Asia, by way of development of road transport infrastructure, negotiating bilateral and regional motor vehicle agreements, and promoting initiatives for standardization of transport systems. The Bangladesh-Bhutan-India motor vehicle agreement and India-Myanmar-Thailand trilateral highways agreement are two big steps to improve the regional transport connectivity within neighboring countries. Mr. Chair, India is of the firm view that all the connectivity initiatives must be based on universally recognized international norms, good governance, financial responsibility, rule of law, openness, transparency, and equality. I thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, India, for your statement. Would any other delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item? I see none. This brings up to the conclusion of agenda item 4E. We shall now take up agenda item 4F, pertaining to the Committee on Environment and Development. The documents pertinent to this agenda item are ESCAP/77/6 on summary of progress on the implementation of Commission Resolution 74/4 and 75/4. ESCAP/77/7 and the matters calling for actions of the Commission or brought to its attention of the Committee on Environment and Development on its 6th session. ESCAP/77/15 entitled Report of the Governing Council of the Center for Sustainable Agriculture Mechanization on its 16th session. And the last ESCAP/77/1 pertaining to the reports of the Coordinating Committee for Geoscience Programs in East and Southeast Asia and of the Mekong River Commission. I now open the floor for country statement. The first speaker is Russia, to be followed by Bangladesh. Russia, you have the floor.
Уважаемые делегаты, наращивание природоохранного сотрудничества на площадке ESCAP в русле положений ключевых глобальных конвенций и соглашений в сфере защиты окружающей среды, а также подходов, закрепленных в Декларации министров по окружающей среде и развитию в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе 2017 года, находится в первых рядах наших приоритетов. Считаем важным последовательное наращивание работы комиссии на экологическом треке по таким темам, как устойчивое потребление и производство, сохранение биоразнообразия и укрепление климатической устойчивости региона, resilience, climate resilience, снижение загрязнения воздуха, повышение качества управления особо охраняемыми природными территориями, в том числе морскими территориями, борьба с загрязнением морских акваторий пластиком, экологизация сельского хозяйства. Это все очень важные темы. В этой связи мы выделяем запуск под эгидой ESCAP, партнерство стран Северо-Восточной Азии «Чистый воздух», в котором принимают участие и российские эксперты. Рассчитываем, что это партнерство будет способствовать качественному укреплению координации при реализации странами субрегиона мер по снижению трансграничного загрязнения воздуха. Российская Федерация последовательно оказывает экспертную и финансовую поддержку работе ESCAP, прежде всего в формате проектной деятельности, в целях оказания содействия странам-членам в выполнении международных природоохранных соглашений, включая такие, как Парижское соглашение по климату, а также на цели развития трансграничного сотрудничества в целях эффективного управления особо охраняемыми природными территориями, в целях сохранения редких видов фауны. Будем, несомненно, продолжать развивать этот формат сотрудничества. Мы приветствуем приобретающую все большую динамику взаимодействия под эгидой Азиатско-Тихоокеанского форума по устойчивому развитию, которая нацелена на расширение обмена опытом по достижению целей устойчивого развития, нацелена на решение практических вопросов мониторинга хода реализации повестки дня 2030. Платформа Азиатско-Тихоокеанского форума по устойчивому развитию оказалась особенно востребована в условиях совместного поиска странами ИСКАТа эффективных мер по восстановлению после пандемии COVID-19. Это очень важная роль, которую выполняет форум. И мы считаем важным повышать эту роль от фура как по-настоящему дискуссионной площадки, свободной от излишней запрограммированности. Мы считаем, что в будущем форум должен уделять больше внимания интерактивным дискуссиям. Давайте прямо говорить, можно поменьше уделять времени всяким роликам, записанным заранее. И больше времени оставлять делегациям для реального, настоящего разговора. Это поможет нам вырабатывать совместными усилиями представителей государств и гражданского общества, рекомендаций, учитывающих реальные чаяния и устремления стран региона. Намерены именно в этом ключе выстраивать наше дальнейшее участие в АДФУР. Спасибо.
Thank you, Russia, for your statement. Next speaker is Bangladesh, to be followed by Indonesia. Bangladesh, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, Bangladesh is one of the most climate vulnerable countries in the world, but still it has been working on its own to move from climate vulnerable to become a climate resilient country. For this, the government formulated a 10-year Bangladesh climate change strategy and action plan in 2009. A climate change trust fund was created from our national budget, which makes Bangladesh a pioneer among its peers. Through this fund, till now, the government has allocated a total of $450 million for addressing climate change. Bangladesh has also ratified and fortified its commitment to climate goals through various legislative measures as well. The revised and updated National Environment Policy 2018, Biodiversity Act and Ecological Critical Area Management Rules, and the Green Growth Strategy are just to name a few. In 2019, the Parliament of Bangladesh adopted a resolution on planetary emergency. Moreover, Mr. Chair, the government has been implementing the Blue Economy Action Plan 2016 to manage and conserve marine ecosystem. Bangladesh has also been establishing a coastal green belt. On the occasion of the birth centenary of our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, we are planting 30 million saplings all over Bangladesh this year. The government has also recently formulated a Mujib Climate Prosperity Plan, through which we move from climate resilience to climate prosperity. So first from climate vulnerability to climate resilience, then from climate resilience to climate prosperity. We have also adopted the Delta Plan 2100 for sustainable development through effective use of water. Mr. Chair, finally, no country can address the challenges of climate change alone. And without effective mitigation and adaptation measures, it is simply not possible to become climate resilient. We need global commitments and global efforts to ensure climate resilient development. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Bangladesh, for your statement. Next speaker is Indonesia, to be followed by China. Indonesia, you have the floor. Indonesia, please unmute the microphone. Please unmute the microphone, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished delegates, as we all know, the impact of COVID-19 affects various sectors, including on the food security and resilience in the world. This impact ranging from disruption of agriculture production due to restrictions on the movement of people or labor. Also, disruption of food distribution or supply chain due to the implementation of lockdown and border closure. Third, decreasing of the public's purchasing power. The Ministry of Agriculture of Indonesia has devised strategies and programs to mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic by increasing productivity of staple food, streamlining food distributions, facilitating an easier transportation or food distribution access, maintaining price stability, and also developing a buffer stock and market intervention programs. We are hopeful that these interventions and programs will be able to provide employment opportunities for workers, both farmers, farm laborers, and people in rural areas. Second, provide additional income to farmers, farm laborers, and the public. Third, improve agriculture development performance by strengthening agriculture infrastructure and supporting increased production added value and agriculture competitiveness. Fourth, empowering the economy and increase the purchasing power of people in rural areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Indonesia, for your statement. The next speaker is China, to be followed by Japan. China, you have the floor.
先生，中方高度重视环境与发展问题，积极推进生态文明建设，取得显著成效。2020年，中国单位国内生产总值二氧化碳排放相比2015年下降了18.8%。过去10年，中国森林资源增长面积超过7000万公顷，居全球首位。中国已宣布力争于2030年碳达峰，努力争取2060年前实现碳中和。就在本月，中国国家主席习近平应邀出席中法德领导人视频峰会和领导人全气候峰会，推动国际合作，共同应对气候变化。亚太是全球经济增长的发动机，我们应坚持共同但有区别的责任原则，应对气候变化，应坚持推进绿色发展理念，建设更紧密的绿色发展伙伴关系。主席先生，海洋是人类的共同财产，我们强烈敦促日方认清自身责任，履行国际义务，重新审视福岛核电站核废水处理问题，对国际社会、周边国家以及本国国民的严重关切作出应有回应。主席先生，无论是应对眼下的疫情危机，还是共创美好的未来，人类都需要同舟共济，团结合作。中方愿同亚太国家共同努力，积极应对气候变化，走绿色低碳发展道路，进一步推动落实2030年可持续发展议程。谢谢主席先生。
Thank you, China, for your statement. Next speaker is Thailand. Thailand, you have the floor.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the COVID-19 pandemic has shaking the world, leading to slowdown of the economic growth and threatening the achievement of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The Royal Thai government has made every effort to develop and implement a green recovery plan to turn the COVID-19 crisis into opportunities to rebuild climate resilient economy by promoting energy efficiency, green transportation, renewable energy development. For the long-term solution, the government launched the Bio-Circular Green Economy, also called BCG model, as the new economic development model, which is one of the top Thailand priorities. The BCG economy is aimed for empowering local economies, enhancing bioresources management, using technology and innovation, and applying the zero waste principle to production processes. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, one of the relevant agencies, is also working to support the implementation of the BCG model. For instance, in drafting the Climate Change and Biodiversity Acts, which will be the significant instrument in achieving climate and nature-friendly economy development. In addition, since last year, our ministry has implemented various measures to address an increase in plastic waste resulted from pandemic. For example, we signed the MOU with food delivery businesses to reduce the use of plastic containers, as well as cooperated with private sector and local government to start up a pilot model of plastic waste drop-off station from households for further recycling and upcycling. Furthermore, under the plastic roadmap, we set a target to recycle plastic waste by 100% in 2027. Finally, Mr. Chair, the SIG of Committee of Environment and Development decided to establish the Technical Expert Group on Environment and Development, which would enhance regional efforts on environmental and sustainable development. In this regard, Thailand would like to remind the Secretariat to provide advice the Technical Expert Group TOR to the member state for our consideration. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Thailand, for your statement. The next speaker is Nepal. Nepal, you have the floor.
Good morning. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, climate change has emerged as a global problem. Even though Nepal's contribution to global warming and greenhouse gas emission is minimum, the impact of climate change is more severe in Nepal due to the mountainous terrain and fragile geology. Nepal has taken action to combat the effect of climate change to slow down its impact through mitigation and adaptation measures. So far, 68 local adaptation plan has been prepared against the target of 36. Similarly, 342 community level adaptation plans prepared and 68 adaptation plans are under implementation. We have made comprehensive effort to mainstream climate change adaptation in sectoral policies and program and countries' legislative framework. At the national level, a national climate change policy 2019 has been adopted. Further, a climate change budget code has been introduced in the budgetary system, and effort has been initiated to internalize climate change related investment in the budget cycle. The government is working on the preparation of the climate change financial framework at the sub-national level as well. The current 15 plan give high priority to minimize the impact of climate change and enhance adaptation capacity as indicated in the Paris Agreement, promote environmentally friendly, clean energy and green development. As a way ahead, Nepal government will be addressing the current challenges relating to climate change through increasing awareness at the individual, household and community level, adaptation of the multi-sector partnership and generating financing for climate change program, and bringing appropriate technologies for the climate change initiative. We are felt that to reduce the impact of climate change, sustained awareness generation on climate change is needed at the community level through school, community organization, and local government agencies. Similarly, financial and technological support from the development partners for climate change initiatives, particularly at the provincial and local level, preparation of realistic and implementable participatory local adaptation plan of action, and creating the database on climate change impacts are also important. These are the area to be focused. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Nepal, for your statement. I see Japan. Japan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, Japan has been taking a leading role in monitoring ambient air quality in the Asia-Pacific region through the acid deposition monitoring network in East Asia that is called EANet for more than 20 years. Last year, the related countries agreed to start expanding the scope of the EANet to cover not only acid rain, but also other air pollutants. And currently, Japan is proceeding with discussions with 13 countries. Japan is going to continue the discussions further in order to strengthen cooperation involving other existing activities and to avoid overlaps with them. And today I heard another remark about the Fukushima nuclear power plant's water issue. As I said yesterday, the discharge of the treated and purified water and not the contaminated water will be implemented in accordance with relevant international law and domestic rules and regulations. And we are going to ensure the safety of this operation. As I said yesterday, Japan would like to stress once again that we continue to provide information and explain the situation to the international community in a transparent manner. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Japan, for your statement. Would any other delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item? I see none. This brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 4F. We shall now take up agenda item 4G on the Committee on Trade and Investment. The documents pertinent to this agenda item are ESCAP/77/7 and the matters calling for actions of the Commission or brought to its attention of its Committee on Trade and Investment on its 7th session. And the next document is ESCAP/77/16 entitled Report of the 6th Meeting of the Interim Intergovernmental Steering Group on Cross-Border Paperless Trade Facilitation. I now open the floor for country statements. The first speaker is Russia. Russia, you have the floor.
Продолжающаяся пандемия COVID-19 стала беспрецедентным испытанием на прочность экономик как отдельных государств, так и всего мирового сообщества. Негативное влияние ощущается не только в глобальных торгово-инвестиционных отношениях, но и в повседневной жизни каждого человека. В рамках антикризисных мер многие государства-члены комиссии вводили дополнительные ограничения, косвенным следствием которых стали сбои в доступе товаров, услуг и инвестиций на рынке. Исходим из того, что борьба с COVID-19 не должна вести к возведению новых торговых барьеров, а все чрезвычайные меры торговой и инвестиционной политики, вводимые в связи с пандемией, должны быть точечными, прозрачными, временными и не противоречить нормам ВТО. С сожалением констатируем усиливающиеся в мировой экономике протекционистские тенденции, которые в определенной мере распространяются и на наш регион. Считаем необходимым тщательно отслеживать и не допускать воздействия этого негативного фактора на торгово-инвестиционное сотрудничество под эгидой ESCAP. Для нивелирования этих тенденций полагаем целесообразным шире задействовать потенциал региональных интеграционных объединений. В этом контексте можем сослаться на успешный опыт взаимодействия по линии ЕАЭС и АСЕАН. Эти интеграционные объединения вносят хороший вклад в обеспечение конструктивной торгово-инвестиционной атмосферы в регионе путем сотрудничества, нацеленного на улучшение взаимопонимания бизнес-структур в странах-членах объединений. Ускорившаяся в связи с пандемией цифровизация способна создать новые экономические возможности, в том числе в сфере торговли и инвестиций. Отмечаем необходимость активизации усилий по сокращению цифровых разрывов в развивающихся странах региона Азиатско-Тихоокеанского за счет наращивания инвестиций в цифровую инфраструктуру и цифровые навыки людей и компаний, особенно тех, кто проживает и ведет бизнес в удаленных и сельских территориях. В этом контексте важнейшее значение имеют вопросы соблюдения принципов технологической нейтральности и цифрового суверенитета, а также защиты персональных данных в ходе выработки международных правил в этой области. Хотели бы отметить важный результат 2021 года для региона. Вступление в силу рамочного соглашения об упрощении процедур трансграничной безбумажной торговли. Полагаем, что оно станет действенным инструментом повышения динамики торгово-экономического сотрудничества в регионе за счет снижения внешнеторговых издержек, а также будет способствовать большему вовлечению малых и средних предприятий в региональные цепочки добавленной стоимости. Обращаем внимание на важность сохранения открытого формата сотрудничества в рамках соглашения, обеспечивающего возможности для полноценного участия в экспертной работе всех заинтересованных сторон, в том числе тех, которые пока не являются стороной соглашения. Господин председатель, в интересах поступательного социального и экономического развития региона считаем важным содействовать формированию прозрачных инвестиционных режимов, особое внимание уделяя стимулированию инвестиционных потоков, способствующих продвижению принципов устойчивого развития. Важно также, чтобы применяемые государствами механизмы скрининга иностранных инвесторов и инвестиций соответствовали обязательствам в рамках ВТО. Россия, ориентируясь на повестку 2030 и реализацию национальных целей устойчивого развития, ведет активную разработку национальной архитектуры устойчивого финансирования, внедряя новые инструменты привлечения внебюджетных средств в зеленые проекты. Готовы делиться со странами-членами комиссии нашим опытом. Благодарю за внимание.
Thank you, Russia, for your statement. The next speaker is China, to be followed by the Republic of Korea. China, you have the floor.
Chủ 主席先生，过去一年，尽管受新冠肺炎疫情严重冲击 ，ESCAP 贸易投资领域合作仍然取得积极进展。蒙古国正式加入亚太贸易协定，亚太跨境无纸贸易便利化框架协定于今年2月生效。这些重要成果为促进亚太区域经济一体化和疫后经济复苏注入新动力。中方对秘书处的工作表示肯定。疫情发生以来，中方始终本着合作共赢理念，同亚太各国携手应对挑战。中方积极向多个国家提供医疗物资援助，保障区域供应链顺畅稳定。在国内，中方采取了一系列稳定外贸和外资措施，继续通过举办第3届中国国际进口博览会等方式扩大进口。面对疫后更好重建的艰巨任务，亚太各国应团结合作，坚决反对单边主义和贸易保护主义，消除贸易投资壁垒，尊重市场规则，维护以世贸组织为核心的多边贸易体制。应推动构建开放型世界经济，促进各成员贸易投资领域合作，深化区域经济一体化，缩小发展鸿沟，为亚太地区可持续发展做出应有贡献。谢谢主席先生。
Thank you, China, for your statement. Next speaker is Republic of Korea, to be followed by Bangladesh. Republic of Korea, please have the floor. Republic of Korea, may I ask you to take the floor?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Wait a minute.
We cannot hear and see you.
Okay. We cannot see you, and we'll come back to you, Republic of Korea. And next speaker is Bangladesh.
Mr. Chair, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On the slot of COVID late, the countries, including Bangladesh, adapt to rapid digitalization of economies. As a result, e-commerce, m-commerce, f-commerce have become more popular for business and trade. Today, we want to delve into how digital strengths and capacities of Asia and the Pacific countries may be utilized for enhancing trade to a desired level. Bangladesh is a pioneering country in the area of ratifying ESCAP cross-border paperless trade agreement. We need to build up cooperation among Asia-Pacific countries for meeting the resource gap in trade, investment, expertise, and technologies in the third sectors, including agri-products, fisheries, and facilitate greater cross-border transfer. Ladies and gentlemen, as Bangladesh is in the process of graduating from LDC status, the country may lose some of the trade preferences it is enjoying at present. We would like to receive policy advice, country-specific FDI sustainability indicators, and networking for FDI inflow and outflow among the countries of the Asia and the Pacific region for the development programs of actions Bangladesh has already undertaken. Bangladesh solicits cooperation from the countries of this region for creating enabling ambience for digital trade and digital economy. In this regard, the ESCAP may undertake some initiatives for introducing a platform for exchanging and showcasing ideas, prospects, and innovations of the countries of this region. We strongly believe that cooperation among the countries of the Asia and the Pacific region should be enhanced in relation to digital trade and commerce. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bangladesh, for your statement. Now, Republic of Korea, please take the floor. We have technical problems with the Republic of Korea. I will come back to you shortly. Now, I see India. India, you have the floor. India, you have the floor. Okay, I can see, I see Republic of Korea. Republic of Korea, you have the floor. We are distinguished delegates, we're experiencing technical difficulties. Now, I see now Republic of Korea disconnected, and I see India. India again, please. You have the floor.
I'm Korea. Mr. Chair, I'm Korea. Okay.
Okay, Republic of Korea, you have the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Korea is deeply appreciated by many member states to discuss on cross-border paperless trade facilitation. We would like to appreciate the effectuation of the agreement on 20th February this year, thanks to ratification by China, Iran, Azerbaijan, the Philippines, and Bangladesh. If more members participated in agreement, it is expected to reduce time, the costs in trade transaction, expand trade between countries, and increase employment. It is considered important to actively participate in the paperless trade agreement to promote trade, restore global supply chain in Asia-Pacific region, and accelerated the digital trade transition for recovering the economy after the post-corona pandemic era. At the same time, it is required to support for building online investment platforms and strengthening capabilities for developing countries to effectively implement the agreement. Korea is also preparing domestic procedures for joining the agreement, and it is seeking to part in it within this year. In addition, we are committed to actively engaging in the legal and technical working groups for the implementation of the agreement. Lastly, I hope that all states will cooperate with each other to quickly overcome the corona pandemic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Republic of Korea, for your statement. Now I see India. India, you have the floor.
Can you see me, Mr. Chair?
We cannot see you, but we can hear you. And you can go ahead with your interventions, please.
Thank you. Thank you for the chair, Mr. Thank you for the floor, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused major disruption in economic activity and trade across the globe. It has further accentuated the inherent weaknesses and inequalities in the global economic and trading system and has highlighted the need for restructuring and diversifying global value chains. India has seen significant market diversification in its trade in recent years, which has helped in coping with sluggish global demand. We are confident that the structural reforms introduced in the last few years, aimed at providing a stable, sustainable, and predictable policy environment for trade in merchandise and services, along with a host of measures in the aftermath of the pandemic, will enable the country to bounce back on its targeted growth path. Furthermore, the performance of India's service sector during the COVID-19 crisis reinforced India's position as a valued and trusted partner across the globe. India's IT and IT-enabled services sector demonstrated remarkable resilience in responding to the pandemic, ensuring business continuity for all global clients. Mr. Chair, India has implemented several measures to facilitate trade, including simplification of procedures and customs clearances for imports and exports. The UN Global Survey on Digital and Sustainable Trade Facilitation conducted in 2019 has acknowledged this, and India has improved its overall trade facilitation implementation score from 69% to 80%. India is in the final stages of consultation for joining the framework agreement of cross-border paperless trade facilitation. We have also developed the common digital platform for issuance of electronic certificates of origin, which will facilitate further exchange of information in digital format across partner countries in the next phase of its development. Mr. Chair, it has been the endeavor of the government to put in place an enabling and investor-friendly FDI policy framework. The measures taken by the government include FDI reforms, liberalization, investment facilitation, and ease of doing business have resulted in increased FDI inflows into the country. We have taken several measures to ease the foreign trade environment through further digitization of processes and their simplification for businesses. It is important for developing countries and LDCs to focus on improving their domestic physical and digital infrastructure and policy and regulatory frameworks so as to bridge the digital divide and reap the benefits of digitization. Mr. Chair, the disruption caused by the pandemic has reinforced our belief in the importance of multilateralism and adherence to a rules-based global order. It is vital that multilateral institutions play an important role in building mutual trust, minimizing the impact of disruptions, and ensuring global recovery. I thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, India, for your statement. Would any other delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item? I see none. This brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 4G. We shall now take up agenda item 4H, pertaining to the Committee on Energy. The three documents relevant to this agenda item are: first, ESCAP/77/6 on summary of progress in the implementation of the Commission resolution, Resolution 74/9. Second, ESCAP/77/7 and the matters calling for action of the Commission or brought to its attention of the Committee on Energy on its third session. Third, ESCAP/77/17 on enhancing energy security in the context of the coronavirus disease pandemic for a greener, more resilient and inclusive energy future in the region. I now open the floor for country statements. The first speaker on my list is Bangladesh, to be followed by Thailand. Bangladesh, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Bangladesh is a unique example of climate vulnerability and resilience. We have prepared the National Disaster Management Plan for the period 2021 to 2025 in order to enhance the investment through disaster risk reduction, adaptation, and post-disaster rehabilitation initiatives in line with the Delta Plan, 8th Five-Year Plan, and SDGs. Space-based technology contributed significantly towards our major achievement in disaster management. In 2020, during the COVID pandemic, the country faced 5 prolonged floods and super cyclone Amphan, incurring huge economic loss despite the effective preparedness response measures already in place. Ladies and gentlemen, Bangladesh provides disaster resilient houses for the most vulnerable and homeless people located at higher disaster risk prone areas and aimed for rehabilitation of disaster and climate induced internally displaced people. Bangladesh reaffirms the importance of disaster related statistics in the overall context of Sendai framework and SDGs and climate change scenario. The form is updated for ensuring inclusion and integration of Sendai framework target for its monitoring and reporting. Distinguished participants, managing climatic and geophysical hazards are not enough for building resilience. The integration of pandemic nexus is very much needed. We call upon for strict implementation of the SDGs in the framework for DRR and Paris Agreement, which is the only way to slow down the current rate of damage caused by climate and other disasters. Thank you for your patience hearing.
Thank you, Bangladesh, for your statement. The next speaker is Thailand, to be followed by Russia. Thailand, you have the floor.
On behalf of the Ministry of Energy of Thailand, I wish to thank the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, ESCAP, for inviting us to speak at the senior official session of the 77th session of the Commission to be held online today. Thailand has been working closely with the UN ESCAP and put forward the implementation of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, UN SDG 2030 and SDG 7. Moreover, Thailand is also pleased to share our experience and efforts to enhance energy security, particularly during this rapid outbreak of COVID-19, for advancing regional economic cooperation and integration. In this connection, I would emphasize that the future energy trend for Thailand is clean energy transition. We are working towards our preparation for National Energy Plan 2022 or NEP 2022, with 4D 1E strategy, consisting of digitalization, decarbonization, decentralization, deregulation, and electrification. In our NEP 2022, net zero emission or carbon neutrality target will be determined. Several key measures and actions to promote clean investment and the use of renewable energy are the key themes of this plan, with Go Clean with energy security and competitiveness for sustainable energy future. Moreover, Thailand has announced the BCG Bio-Circular Clean Economy Model as a national strategy for sustainable development and will announce it during Thailand's APEC chairmanship in 2022. The BCG model is a tool for balanced development by using resources wisely, getting benefit from biosource and waste, applying a do little but gain more concept, using knowledge, technology, and innovation, maintaining an equally distributed growth, and following a self-sufficient economy philosophy of His Majesty King Bhumibol. In fact, our strategy pathways low carbon society is quite clear. Thailand is currently formulating Thailand's long-term strategies on climate change mitigation and action plan to reduce greenhouse gas emission. We will make our great effort in driving several measures. For example, realizing decarbonization pathway, increasing proportion of electric vehicles, promoting waste management and waste to energy through BCG model. On the connectivity front, Thailand, together with our neighboring countries, Laos, PDR, Malaysia, and Singapore, have agreed to move forward the first multilateral cross-border power trade, which could strengthen energy security and promote regional energy connectivity. Ladies and gentlemen, recently, our Energy Ministry, in cooperation with the Energy Division of UN ESCAP, has implemented the project to conduct the study so-called the evidence-based policies for sustainable use of energy in Asia and the Pacific, the case of Thailand, to review and evaluate Thailand's renewable energy policy. The recommendations from ESCAP benefit our human resource development and future policy planning. If such kind of program and similar practice can be extended to other ESCAP members, that would also bring great benefits to the energy sector to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals as expected. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, at last, let us work together, and I trust our commitments to the United Nations SDG 7 could be materialized with progress and plans, or even better, particularly at COP26, to achieve our common goals. I believe we will not only recover better, but also become healthier, cleaner, and more sustainable for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thailand, for your statement. The next speaker is Russia, to be followed by China. Russia, you have the floor.
Непрекращающаяся пандемия коронавирусной инфекции продолжает оказывать серьезное влияние не только на здоровье населения, но и на экономическую активность во всех странах региона. Сокращение как деловой, так и социальной активности граждан, а также остановка работы большинства крупнейших предприятий привело к закономерному падению спроса на основные источники энергии, что оказало негативное воздействие на производство первичных энергоресурсов и, соответственно, на топливно-энергетический комплекс в целом. В рамках предпринимаемых государственными членами ESCAP мер по преодолению коронакризиса и восстановлению динамики реализации повестки 2030, в частности ее энергетических целеустановок, считаем важным работать в пользу достижения энергетической безопасности экономик Азиатско-Тихоокеанского региона, а также активизировать усилия по формированию в регионе надежно функционирующего энергетического комплекса, опирающегося на основополагающие принципы устойчивого развития. В этом контексте с удовлетворением отмечаем проделанную секретариатом комиссии работу по подготовке достаточно насыщенного информационно-аналитического документа об укреплении энергетической безопасности с учетом фактора COVID-19. Вместе с тем, хотели бы подчеркнуть, что некоторые тезисы в документе, по нашему убеждению, неадекватно отражают реальное состояние дел в мировой энергетике. Не можем не подчеркнуть, продвижение идеи так называемой энергетической трилеммы считаем преждевременной, так как она не согласовывалась в рамках ООН и не опирается на широкую консенсусную базу. Также хотели бы отметить объективный факт. Возобновление экономической активности будет, по прогнозу профильной экспертной организации Международного энергетического агентства, способствовать росту спроса на ископаемое топливо, поскольку возможности других источников энергии, в частности возобновляемых, недостаточно для комплексного обеспечения необходимыми объемами энергосбережения. Замалчивание этого факта приведет к неверному выстраиванию актуальных на сегодняшний день энергетических стратегий. Мы исходим из понятной презумпции. Для удовлетворения спроса растущих экономик региона на энергию необходимо не зацикливаться на форсированной переориентации финансовых потоков на развитие исключительно возобновляемых источников энергии, а совместными усилиями комплексно и сбалансированно развивать как возобновляемую, так и традиционную энергетику, принимая во внимание, конечно, специфические условия и приоритеты государств-членов. Уважаемый господин председатель, Россия вносит весомый вклад в поддержание глобальной и региональной энергетической безопасности путем обеспечения стабильности международных поставок энергоносителей и реализации комплексных мер по сбалансированному развитию сектора энергетики с учетом экологических, в том числе климатических факторов, в строгом соответствии с Парижским соглашением. Будучи одним из крупнейших производителей и экспортеров углеводородов, наша энергетика является одной из самых низкоуглеродных в мире, поскольку более трети генерации приходится на гидро- и атомную энергетику, а более 50% на природный газ. С учетом нестабильности генерации на основе возобновляемых источников энергии, а также экономической и технологической затратности ее внедрения, убеждены в сохранении на значительную перспективу привлекательности природного газа как наиболее чистого ископаемого энергоресурса и переходного топлива в контексте глобальной энергетической трансформации в сторону новых источников энергии. Российские эксперты готовы к предметному обсуждению конкретных проектов по газовой тематике в регионе ESCAP и возможных направлений дальнейшего развития взаимодействия в данной области. Уважаемый господин председатель, исходя из стратегического вектора работы комиссии на энергетическом направлении, заданного Декларацией министров Второго Азиатско-Тихоокеанского энергетического форума, состоявшегося в апреле 2018 года, считаем, что для формирования взаимосогласованной субстантивной основой для встречи министров энергетики наших государств в рамках предстоящего в 2023 году третьего Азиатско-Тихоокеанского энергетического форума требуется тщательная подготовка. Полагаем необходимым заблаговременно приступить к подготовительной работе с привлечением экспертов государственных структур, бизнеса и других заинтересованных участников в соответствии с установленной процедурой и практикой работы комиссии. В заключение, хотели бы подтвердить намерение Российской Федерации и дальше оказывать ESCAP поддержку в развитии энергетического сотрудничества в регионе. Благодарю за внимание.
Thank you, Russia, for your statement. Now I would like to invite China to be followed by Bangladesh. China, you have the floor.
中方对上届年会以来，秘书处在能源领域所做卓有成效工作，特别是在推动亚太电力系统互联互通区域路线图制定等方面的工作，表示赞赏。感谢能源司的同事们对于推进亚太地区能源领域可持续发展所做贡献，期待秘书处在可再生能源开发利用、能源互联互通等领域保持投入，加强各成员交流互鉴和能力建设。中国政府高度重视能源领域可持续发展，并将其融入国家发展规划，近年来不断取得积极进展。中国已在2015年全面解决无电人口用电问题，实现人人享有电力目标。中国坚持能源清洁低碳发展方向，可再生能源整体开发利用规模居全球首位。中方积极参与全球能源治理，推动构建“一带一路”能源合作伙伴关系，加强与有关国家在可再生能源、智能电网、智慧能源、能源互联互通等领域合作。中方愿同亚太各国共同推进落实可持续发展能源目标，加强可再生能源开发利用，提升能源可及性和利用效率，促进本地区可持续发展和疫后复苏。谢谢。
Thank you, China, for your statement. I understand that the previous statement of the Bangladesh was meant for the next item, agenda item 4I. And now I would like to invite Bangladesh once again to make his intervention for this agenda item. Bangladesh, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Government of Bangladesh has given top priority for the development of both primary and secondary energy to achieve the Vision 2021, which is electricity for all, and the Vision 2041, which is transforming Bangladesh into a developed country. Bangladesh power and energy sector has achieved tremendous success during the last 12 years. The power generation capacity has reached to 24,982 megawatts in this year, from only 4,942 megawatts back in 2009. The country's electricity coverage reached to 99% of its population. Renewable energy programs, including installation of more than 5 million solar home systems, refers remarkable success for electrification of rural off-grid areas. Mr. Chair, we have formulated the Power System Master Plan back in 2016, considering fuel diversification, clean energy, and climate change. Now we are updating to incorporate recent changes and also to confront new challenges. According to our master plan, power generation capacity will be 40,000 megawatt by 2030 and 60,000 megawatt by 2041, where 15% of the capacity will be made from renewable energy and power trading. As per the intended nationally determined contributions 2015 for climate change mitigation, Bangladesh is committed to unconditionally reduce GHG emission by 5% from business as usual levels by 2030 in the power, transport, and industry sectors based on existing resources. Bangladesh has enacted legislation for cross-border electricity. Considering its present generation capacity, Bangladesh has the potential for exporting power to neighboring countries. We are also actively participating in the sub-regional and regional cooperation forums such as BIMSTEC, SASEC, D8 and SAR for electricity trading through formation of regional grid. Now the government is implementing the SDG action plan to achieve Goal 7 to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for all. Mr. Chair, still we have some challenges like ensuring a sustainable fuel mix and quality of electricity, developing a robust grid for integration of large-scale power plants and renewable energy-based plants. We are in the process of radical transformation of our energy and power sector into a smart and vibrant one. We need more international cooperation in terms of regional integration and cross-border power trade, as well as more investment in terms of FDI and modern technology. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Bangladesh, for your statement. Would any other delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item? I see none. This brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 4H. We shall now take up agenda item 4I, pertaining to the Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction. The documents pertaining to this agenda item are ESCAP 77/6 on summary of progress in the implementation of Commission resolutions, Resolution 75/5. Second, ESCAP 77/18 entitled Report of the Government Council of the Asian and Pacific Center for Development of Disaster Information Management on its 5th session. Third, ESCAP 77/19 on pathways for managing systemic risk in Asia and the Pacific, regional and sub-regional approaches. Fourth, ESCAP 77/INF/1 pertaining to the reports of the Typhoon Committee and of the panel of tropical cyclones. I now open the floor for the country statements. The first speaker on my list is Thailand. Thailand, you have the floor.
Gentlemen, Thailand disaster risk management is driven by National Disaster Risk Management Plan, which aims to build resilience through investment in disaster risk reduction and promotion of the risk-informed developments under the wholes of the government and wholes of society approach. And King Rama IX's sufficiency economy philosophy was also incorporated in the master plan with the aim in building immunity and communicate risks among all sectors in accordance with SDGs, home grow approach and Sendai framework on disaster risk reduction. However, the emergence of COVID-19 situation reflects a new challenge in disaster risk reduction and confirm that disaster risk reduction is everyone's business. COVID-19 vividly shows us the connectivity between the health sector and disaster risk management. It is now time for action for the Bangkok Principle, which can It's now time for action for the Bangkok Principle, which call for an incorporatable multi-sectoral approach to promote systematic cooperation, integration, and ultimately coherence between disaster and health risk management to reduce risks from biological hazard and strengthen resilient health system. Last years, Department of Disaster Prevention and Mitigation, with the support from the UNDRR, UNDP, and the WHO, hosted the first Bangkok Principle webinar in Thai. There was more than 240 accounts attended from Thailand Disaster Risk Reduction Network, and we will continue to share our experiences in managing disaster risk reduction on health aspect and in several platforms. Moreover, the Ministry of Public Health initiated an implementation of Bangkok Principle projects for ASEAN regional levels as well as within Thailand, which include the development of medical supply and logistics database, as well as disaster-related public health database, and the development of the emergency medical team in ASEAN. Minister of Public Health will also make an effort in incorporate the Bangkok Principle into ASEAN Leader Declaration on Disaster Health Management, which will be proposed by Regional Coordination Committee on Disaster Health Management. Thailand is in full support of anticipatory action approach, which we will utilize as a core method in provision of disaster data and early warning measures, cultivate participation and register risk information among our citizens in all levels. Ladies and gentlemen, disaster in our era is becoming more complex, interconnected, and transboundary. So collaboration from all sectors among with innovation and technology are essential to be able to continue pursuing the goals of Sendai and SDGs, especially in the new normal environment with the existence of COVID-19. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Thailand, for your statement. I see China to be followed by India. China, you have the floor.
"自然灾害频发，疫情进一步暴露本地区在灾害管理领域的脆弱性。中方重视 ESCAP 在亚太区域空间应用项目机制 ESCAP 下推动利用空间技术，促进本地区防灾减灾和可持续发展。一年来，中国国家遥感中心等单位为亚太受灾国家提供超过30 GB 各类遥感卫星数据和产品，包括近期发生在印尼的洪水和泥石流灾害。同时，在区域旱灾监测和预警机制下，中方同 ESCAP 密切合作，为湄公河次区域国家开展网上培训，为有关国家更好地利用卫星遥感、地理空间信息等，以加强农业旱灾和农作物监测提供能力建设支持。中方重视 ESCAP 防灾减灾领域合作，期待 ESCAP 发挥自身优势，促进各成员减灾合作，加强地理空间信息、数字技术、科技创新等在区域灾害管理方面的应用，加强对亚太发展中国家能力建设支持和技术援助，帮助各成员构建灾害韧性，提升灾害管理水平，促进亚太地区可持续发展和疫后重建。谢谢。
Thank you, China, for your statement. Next speaker is India. India, you have the floor.
Thank you for the floor, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, we have noted the background paper prepared by the Secretariat on titled Pathways for Managing Systemic Risks in Asia and the Pacific, Regional and Sub-Regional Approaches, which highlights the recent expansion of the disaster riskscape of the region due to intersection of natural hazards and biological hazards, and underscores the importance of scaling up investments in science, technology, and innovation to mitigate the impact. We appreciate the suggestions given by the Secretariat. In addition, we feel that there is a need for the Commission to assist maritime member states of the region to mitigate the impacts of intersecting biological hazards with oceanogenic hazards such as storm surges, tsunamis, sea level, and others. The year 2020 highlighted that the occurrence of such concurrent events is a distinct possibility. There is a need to build hazard and risk scenarios for such intersecting events, enhance early warning capabilities, and more importantly, strengthen response capacities of the coastal communities. The Commission can play a role in assisting member states achieve such capabilities. Mr. Chair, India has consistently demonstrated its strong commitment to regional, sub-regional, and South-South cooperation in multi-hazard early warning and disaster risk management. India has set up the BIMSTEC Center for Weather and Climate. It chairs the Regional Integrated Multi-Hazard Early Warning Systems Council and hosts the SARC Disaster Management Center. We are not only focusing on reducing mortality from major disasters, but also from small or medium and locally specific disasters such as heat wave, thunderstorms, and lightning. This has yielded early results and has been possible through issuance of appropriate national guidelines on heat wave action planning, localization of heat wave early warning, extensive public awareness campaign, and effective implementation at the local level through a multi-sectoral approach. Mr. Chair, based on the National Disaster Management Plan, all the states in India have prepared their disaster management plans. In order to augment the capacity of state-level disaster risk management organizations, we have launched a national program to provide appropriate technical and financial support to them. In order to encourage innovation and recognize exceptional contributions of organizations and individuals in disaster risk management, the government has also instituted an annual national award in the name of our illustrious freedom fighter, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. India has been actively pursuing the theme of disaster resilient infrastructure and has initiated a coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure. The coalition, launched in September 2019, will benefit both developed and developing countries and serve as a knowledge and capacity development platform for promoting disaster resilient infrastructure. In the end, I would like to conclude by saying that India is focusing on strategies and approaches that can help in fulfilling the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction commitments and is committed to reducing vulnerabilities and impact of disasters through national efforts as well as regional and international cooperation. I thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, India, for your statement. Would any other delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item? I see none. This brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 4I. We shall now take up agenda item 4J, pertaining to the Committee Macroeconomics, Policy, Poverty Reduction, and Financing for Development. The document pertinent to this agenda item are ESCAP/77/20 on economic policies and financing strategies to build resilient, inclusive, and sustainable economies. I now open the floor for country statements. The first speaker on my list is Bangladesh, to be followed by China. Bangladesh, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Bangladesh achieved sustained high economic growth during the last 12 years and also attained good progress in all socioeconomic indicators. To address the crisis from COVID-19 and overcome its potential adverse effects on the economy, Bangladesh government formulated a comprehensive program with short, medium, and long targets. This program had 4 main strategic objectives: to increase government spending in productive sector with priority to create jobs and discharging luxury spending, to provide low interest credit facilities through the banking system to industries and business enterprises to revive the economic activities and increase the competitiveness of entrepreneurs at home and abroad. To expand the social protection programs to protect the ultra-poor and low-income groups. To provide adequate liquidity to the market while keeping inflation under control. We undertook a comprehensive stimulus and economic recovery program to facilitate the implementation of these strategies, which played a highly effective role in countering the adverse shocks of COVID-19. The sign of the economic recovery is evident from the latest trends in exports, remittances, agricultural production, revenue collection, and foreign exchange reserves. The satisfactory trends of these areas indicate that the economy is now getting back on track towards the sustained growth path. Ladies and gentlemen, we need a well-coordinated roadmap to face the COVID crisis. The international community should come forward to help the LDCs and developing nations who are adversely affected by the pandemic. They should step up fiscal stimulus and confessional finance and debt relief measures. From the Asia and the Pacific region, the ESCAP can play the anchor role in facilitating regional cooperation. Thank you for your patience hearing.
Thank you, Bangladesh, for your statement. The next speaker is China. China, you have the floor.
主席先生，受疫情影响，世界经济供需两端受阻，陷入深度衰退。面对经济增长困境，亚太各国应当加强宏观经济政策协调，协同采取有效的货币和财政政策，维护全球和区域市场稳定。同时，应将发展置于经济复苏的优先位置，加大发展投入。发达国家应切实履行发展援助承诺，推动缓解全球债务和流动性风险。2008年国际金融危机以来，中国始终发挥世界经济主引擎作用，对世界经济增长的贡献率超过30%。2020年，中国 GDP 增长2.3%，成为唯一实现正增长的主要经济体。今年2月，习近平主席庄严宣告，中国脱贫攻坚战取得了全面胜利。2012年以来，现行标准下9899万农村贫困人口全部脱贫，完成了消除绝对贫困的艰巨任务。中国提前10年完成2030年可持续发展议程减贫目标。中方高度重视 ESCAP 宏观经济、减贫和发展筹资领域合作。近年来，资助 ESCAP 开展了多个 PPP 相关合作项目，帮助发展中国家打破基础设施融资瓶颈。本届年会期间，中方成功举办减贫主题边会，同亚太各方分享农业可持续发展和减贫经验。中方愿同各成员加强合作，深化南南合作，推动实现亚太地区经济复苏和共同发展。谢谢。
Thank you, China, for your statement. Would any other delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item? I see none, and this brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 4. Now, just before we proceed with the break, may I call on the Secretary of the Commission to make an announcement.
Thank you, Chair. Distinguished delegates, the Secretary wishes to remind delegations to please take a few minutes to complete the evaluation questionnaire that was uploaded on the website of the Commission under the Overview tab, and the link also shared via Kudo. Your feedback over the past years has been very valuable and has informed our Commission preparations. We kindly ask each delegation to please complete the questionnaire. Thank you for your valuable feedback. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Secretariat. The meeting is adjourned.